That was interesting. We're at the train trestle. And something just jumped off that limb behind me before we got here. The camera went off real weird. But anyway, we're down here on the river, on the Ochlocknee. And the river right now is what they're considering 6 foot-ish. So imagine 6 more feet. It's been 4 more feet. So up there on the trestle, it would have been a lot higher. So you can kind of see water lines around here, but which means that little island right there would have been completely, this little strip of land right here at the moment is an island, but would have been completely underwater. So you can tell signs like over here, up through there, where the water was, but it was 3 feet, let's see, about 3 feet higher just a week ago. And so it's running okay. It's not slow, but it gives me an opportunity as well to be able to see, and you can see way down yonder where the train track trestle goes. So hang on a second. Now, this tree down right here is new. That tree used to be down like that. The last time I was down here, that tree wasn't there. It was standing on the bank. There was some debris over here, but that's that tree down right there. I think you can see it. We coming up on the end of it. I got the tripod on the end of this thing, and so it's not just the camera. But that big old tree right there was not down the last time I was here. But so that's what it looks like when the sun is down, and it's really nice. I hate to, I don't want to spoil it, but there hasn't been much of any kind of flying around us. I don't want to say the name in vain. But so Duggar's found a spot on the canoe, and I'm using my little traveling tripod, and I got it stuck over one of these bars right behind me. And instead of sitting up on the seat, I am sitting on the floor of the canoe, and it is much more stable. Duggar can move around a little bit, and I don't feel near as tippy as I did before. And it might actually be better on my back. So as far as the canoe and me and everything goes, hey, I like this setup so far. And let me tell you, I know I'm always talking about my kayaks. Oh, let's go kayaking. Well, I really miss my canoe, let me tell you. I just want to say, I really miss my canoe. I'm probably way too close for this thing, but I want you to kind of see behind me. But while down here on the river and like testing this out, I got a couple of spots on the outside that I have patched before that I think needs a little bit of extra work after all these years with the sun and the freezing and weather and stuff that had cracked the patchwork that I did. But as I'm sitting in here, there's nothing leaking, so I got no water coming in. And I'm very stable. Oh, you know what? Since we're here, y'all don't necessarily have to look at me, but since I was going to chat a minute, I'm going to flip the camera around. Sorry for any inconvenience, but This is something I have noticed down here in the river. Now, let me turn the nose a little bit. Now, right over Duggar's head is some concrete. I'm going to zoom in here. He's probably going to stick his head up. And there's a couple of steps right there. Sit still, boy. And a piece of old concrete sticking up right there. Now, I've noticed it several years ago. It's right there. And I noticed it several years ago, and we got out and and walked around up there on the land, and it gets really over this ridge right here. It dips back down and gets really wet. In fact, there's probably water in it right now because of all the high water. But why that concrete's there, it doesn't seem to be attached to anything, or, you know, I have wondered if there was another kind of bridge or something down here way back in the day. So, but there's the train trestle. You know, I'm floating backwards down the river now. It doesn't really matter which way we go. But oh, and by the way, they have been spraying the sky today like holy murder. Look at that mess up there. It was so beautiful and so blue, and then they started spraying. Man, but so as far as flooding goes, where I'm sitting at, it's at the 6-foot river height. Another 4 feet would have put it way up on there on the bank, see? So this gives me a good opportunity, because when I've been down here before, it's been like 2.5, 3 feet. And it's like, and everything kind of looks the same. But with the water up, it gives me a different vantage point. Now see, good Duggar, you a good boy. Smart man. I figured if I sat on the floor, maybe he would sit on the floor too. So he's like nice and comfortable. So, you know, we could ride like this for a while. I have missed this canoe, let me tell you, and she's riding like a Cadillac. If you could, I've got the paddle in back of the camera, so and I'm just doing a 1-2, 1-2, not necessarily fast, but if you notice, something big just hit the water right there. See the ripples? The humidity is not as bad as it has been. Now, straight ahead, ooh, something's jumping over yonder bank over there. Now, do you see that tree right there? And its reflection in the water, how cool that is. But to see how that color green, it's fall. They don't normally look like that, okay? Down here in the south, that's the fall color starting. I think that's a cypress tree. But there has been another raw alligator has been spotted down here before. Not that, you know, they can't roam up and down this river as they want to, mind you. But oh, I see something interesting. Now, I'm zoomed in a little bit, so I'm going to zoom back out to what it looks like, because I'm right behind the camera. But what the river looks like, if there's any experience in this at all. This is so much better than my kayak and trying to do stuff, and I really like my kayaks, don't get me wrong. And for piddling around, see, if I was to come camping, what I would do is I would bring my kayak and tie it to the back of the canoe. And when I get somewhere, you know, I've got all the gear and everything in the canoe, but when I get somewhere, all I have to do then is, you know, unhook the canoe to the kayak kind of thing, and go, you know, snooting around in the kayak. without having to remove everything or, you know, from the canoe. Now, have used to camp right, whoop, let me turn this. Used to camp right here where I'm coming up at the, on this bank. And it looks like things have changed fairly decently, like there's still water over the bank and where the nose of the kayak is. Because normally the river cuts all the way to the left and you have to go around this big curve around over there, but you end up back on this side, but just on the other side of this little bank here. But right now the water's up. Very interesting how it looks at this level. Could you hear the owl back there? It's downstream a ways. But right here on this bank, right where the nose is where I've camped before. But you know, there ain't much sticking out of the water. So the last time I was here, you know, there was a good bit of bank right there. And the water over here is up above in the trees right there and cuts right over to the river. So I'm gonna back up because it doesn't seem like I can get right through there. But when the water goes down another foot, this bank will come up, and it looks kind of muddy right now, but usually it's a sandy bank kind of thing. So it's one of the higher spots on the river, and you got a really good view back upstream of the Trestle in the distance. So we're gonna go around to the right here. I'm gonna see how long this movie will go so you get an idea that this is like in real time, you know. And just to save me time, I'm gonna cut through here. It's really nice to be back in my canoe. I have no idea how much I missed it. I've got all the room in the world. She paddles easy, you know. Duggar's got a whole bed to lay on. He can look out the window. You know, this is all of his window. So the river curls all the way around over there, but I'm gonna see if I can sneak through right there because the water's up. I might have could have snuck through there, but because the water's been up as high as it has, these shortcuts that are normally not available to us to get through and where we have to go all the way around, the water's been swift enough to cut some of these spots a little deeper, so it's easier to get through. We'll see what happens here. This is a shortcut, but can I get through that little narrow right there where I'm headed? We fixing to find out. The biggest thing when you're doing this kind of stuff is to not go fast, slow down, you know, because sometimes, like there's a branch on the right over here where the paddle is, and there's a stump on the left. So, and there's a stump under me too. Woo-hoo, boom, boom, hold still, hold still. But see, this limb is flexible to my right. I can push it away and sneak over that log. But now, depending on how long we are downstream, ouch, I'm sitting on my leg. Ow, ooh, 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 ooh. My leg went to sleep. Depending on how long we's gone, if we was to come back that way, it's very possible that we wouldn't be able to get through there because the water is dropping all the time. And I bumped over a log and just did make it. So if I come back there and it drops an inch, I might not be able to get through that same spot and have to go around the long way. So knowing that. So now out to the left here, I'm giving a little bit of a tour. This goes down nice and wide and everything, and you think it's the river till you get down there, and then it dead ends. But the river actually cuts through this little bitty narrows right here. Now when the water's up, it'll come up down at the other end, but I don't want to take the chance and get down there and have to turn around and come back. So, whoops. Over here to the right is where I was going to cut through, but couldn't do it. So because it's flooded though, there are all these places that, you know. Now if I was in the canoe and I mean the kayak a little bit, I could probably got through there. But back there up on that other end is really low, and there's stuff, and you know, Duggar's just getting used to the canoe, so he's got to get used to the, you know, he's got to get his sea legs kind of thing. But over here to the right is just an inlet. It just goes in and around and comes back out, that same spot right there. But you know, that spot right up there on that hill is a really nice place. It's hard to get out and get up there, but it's a really nice, you know, spot to sit for camping and whatever. The banks are nice and high, but getting up onto the banks is a whole different issue. Now, I want to get on down here ways. It's a little hard paddling in this configuration. You hear that noise? That's the bridge. We're almost down to the Georgia 3 bridge. So we want to take it easy because it gets real narrow and real swift in there. But it says my battery's dying, which it shouldn't, but okay, we'll take it from here, and we'll, as we're on the river going into this spot, we'll talk at you later.